The moment Jenna Ortega was found leading a secret rebellion of cyborg children beneath the shimmering neon veins of Los Angeles felt like stepping through a fracture in reality itself. 1 second, everything was the humdrum bustle of the city's relentless rush hour. The next, the air vibrated with a strange electric pulse, the streets above calm but heavy with an unspoken tension, and the shadows below alive with whispered secrets and whirs of machinery hidden beneath synthetic skin. For the main character, Alex, half skeptic, half dreamer, the world tilted on its axis as they stumbled into this underground haven, heart hammering like a drumbeat syncing with the low mechanical hum that seemed to pulse through the walls. Their mind raced, flooded with disbelief and awe. How could the vibrant actress and activist Jenna Ortega, someone they admired from afar, be orchestrating a clandestine uprising of kids who weren't quite human, with gleaming cybernetic limbs and eyes glowing faintly like stars caught in a permanent dusk? The cold metallic air bit at Alex's skin, their breath visible in the dim, flickering fluorescent light, and their hands trembled, not just from the chill, but from the rush of adrenaline and a confusing swirl of fear, excitement, and something like hope. They wanted to back away, to retreat into the safety of ignorance, but something about Jenna's calm, fierce gaze, unwavering in the chaos, pulled them forward. Beside Alex, Maya, an old childhood friend, now a tech-savvy skeptic with a dry wit, crossed her arms, eyes narrowed, whispering sharp, analytical questions as if trying to rationalize the surreal sight, her grounded nature a perfect counterbalance to Alex's impulsive curiosity. The underground labyrinth was alive with faint mechanical noises, holographic symbols flickering along the walls, and the soft footsteps of cyborg children moving like shadows in a well-rehearsed ballet of rebellion. A strange mix of eerie silence and simmering urgency filled the space, hinting at dangers yet unseen and alliances yet to be forged. As Jenna spoke softly, her voice both commanding and tender, the room seemed to hold its breath, every second loaded with the promise of revolution, the weight of hidden truths, and the dawning realization that nothing in their lives would ever be the same. Despite the whirlpool of confusion and awe, a spark kindled within Alex's chest, a reckless thrill that this was only the beginning of something far bigger, something that would challenge everything they thought they knew about humanity, identity, and power. Yet the questions lingered, sharp and unanswered. Why now, why these children, and what did Jenna really want? The city above, oblivious and distant, carried on in its mundane rhythm, but beneath it, in this secret underworld of gears and dreams, a new world was waking, and Alex, Maya, and Jenna stood at the precipice of a story that would unravel far beyond the limits of their imagination. As the initial shock began to settle into a cold, steady resolve, Alex exchanged a glance with Maya, whose usual skepticism was now tinged with reluctant intrigue, and the unspoken question hung heavily between them. What now? They couldn't just walk away, not after witnessing the fragile pulse of rebellion beating beneath the city streets, nor could they ignore Jenna's quiet but urgent plea for allies who understood that this was bigger than any one of them. The decision crystallized in Alex's mind like ice on a winter night. They would dive headfirst into this hidden world, peeling back its layers like a stubborn onion, driven by a mix of curiosity, responsibility, and a desperate need to make sense of the chaos unfolding around them. With cautious steps, they followed Jenna and her cadre of cyborg children deeper into the labyrinth, where walls lined with flickering wires and holographic schematics whispered secrets of a past entangled with shadowy government projects and corporate betrayals. Explored, Alex's fingers brushed against cool metal surfaces embedded with circuitry, feeling a strange blend of alienness and familiarity, and their mind churned with questions about identity and what it meant to be human when flesh and machine were so intricately woven together. Yet, the path was far from simple. Every corner seemed to hide new obstacles, not just the physical, maze-like corridors that twisted and locked behind them, surveillance drones buzzing like angry hornets, and security systems that triggered alarms with a piercing shriek, but mental and emotional hurdles that forced Alex and Maya to confront their deepest fears and prejudices. Maya wrestled with her cynicism, questioning if trust was even possible in a world rife with deception, while Alex grappled with a burgeoning fear that this rebellion could spiral beyond control, consuming everything they cared about. Along the way, they encountered a new figure, Eli, a wiry, sharp-eyed hacker with a haunted past and allegiances as shifting as Quicksilver, who offered a wary hand of friendship but whose true intentions remained veiled behind a mask of charm and half-truths. His knowledge of the city's underbelly and access to encrypted data streams became invaluable, but every time Eli smiled, a shadow flickered in his eyes, reminding Alex that allies in this world were often double-edged swords. Meanwhile, whispers of a relentless enforcer known only as the Warden began to echo through the rebel ranks, a merciless figure rumored to hunt cyborg children with cold precision, turning the underground sanctuary into a battlefield where every move could be a trap. As the days blurred together in a dizzying swirl of stolen moments and coded messages, the emotional stakes deepened. Alex felt the weight of choice pressing down like a vice, torn between the pull of safety and the dangerous allure of rebellion, haunted by the faces of the children who looked to Jenna for hope and guidance, their glowing eyes full of questions no one could yet answer. The mystery thickened like fog, each revelation unspooling threads of even darker secrets beneath the city's shining surface, and with every step forward, the uncertainty grew. Was this fight truly for freedom, or were they pawns in a game whose rules no one had fully grasped? The air was thick with tension, charged with the electric hum of machines and whispered promises of change, but also with the quiet dread that the deeper they went, the more irretrievably lost they might become, caught in a storm of humanity and technology where survival meant rewriting what it meant to be alive itself. The air in the underground refuge felt heavier than ever, thick with the weight of unspoken fears and the electric hum of machinery gearing up for war, as Alex, Maya, Jenna, and their ragtag alliance of cyborg children and hackers prepared for the confrontation that had been haunting their every step. A looming clash with the Warden, the merciless enforcer whose cold steel heart had been the dark shadow stalking their rebellion since the very beginning. The moment to face him was no longer a distant threat but a tangible storm on the horizon, and every heartbeat pulsed with the raw tension of the calm before the chaos. They gathered in the dim glow of flickering monitors and buzzing consoles, inventorying their scarce resources with meticulous care, makeshift weapons fused from salvage tech, encrypted comms, and hacking tools that Eli had painstakingly updated, while Jenna, steady and unyielding, mapped out strategies on a holographic grid, her voice low but resolute as she encouraged the children, now warriors in their own right, to focus their fears into determination. The emotional stakes were raw and unrelenting. Alex felt the weight of responsibility crashing down like a tidal wave, the faces of every cyborg child a stark reminder of what failure would mean, slavery, erasure, or worse, while Maya battled the relentless whirlpool of doubt that gnawed at her pragmatism, questioning if their fragile hope was enough to dismantle an enemy so deeply woven into the city's corrupt machinery. The Warden himself was no mere brute. He was a terrifying fusion of flesh and machine, enhanced beyond normal limits but bound by a singular weakness. A complex neural link that connected him to the very systems he controlled, a vulnerability hidden in the code, a flaw that Eli had painstakingly uncovered through nights of hacking and near misses. Their plan hinged on exploiting this weakness, a daring gambit to infiltrate the Warden's fortress-like stronghold beneath the city's oldest subway tunnels, disrupt his control network, and sever his command over the cyborg enforcers before engaging him directly. It was a strategy riddled with peril. One misstep could mean annihilation, but it was their only chance. In the tense silence that preceded their departure, Jenna gathered the group close, her voice steady but tinged with the fierce hope of a leader who had borne too much loss to back down now, reminding them that this fight was about reclaiming humanity, about the children who deserved a future beyond wires and cold orders. Alex tightened their grip on a small, worn keepsake from their past, a token of the life they once knew, steeling themselves to step into the unknown with every shred of courage they could muster. Maya, scanning the room one last time, nodded silently to Eli, whose fingers danced over his portable console, ready to unleash chaos into the digital veins of their enemy. Outside, the city's lights flickered innocently, unaware that beneath its shining surface, a storm of rebellion and machine was about to erupt. And as the first footsteps echoed into the shadows, the fragile calm shattered, every choice made now carrying the weight of fate itself. the final act poised to rewrite the destiny of all who dared to dream of freedom in a world teetering between flesh and steel. The moment of truth slammed into Alex, Maya, Jenna, and their ragtag band like a thunderclap as they breached the ironclad gates of the warden's lair, the cold air thick with the metallic tang of impending violence and the crackle of overloaded circuits humming in the dark. What began as a careful infiltration quickly erupted into chaos as alarms blared and mechanized sentinels clawed through the shadows, forcing the rebels into a desperate dance of survival and strategy where every shot fired, every calculated hack, became a lifeline tethering them to hope. Jenna moved with fierce precision, rallying the cyborg children whose hybrid strength and human spirit ignited the battlefield with a raw, electric energy that defied their manufactured origins. While Alex and Maya flanked the command center, their breath ragged but minds razor-sharp as Eli's fingers raced over his console to fracture the warden's neural link, each second stretching into an eternity as the warden himself emerged, a towering fusion of muscle and machine, his eyes glowing with cold fury and the weight of decades spent hunting those who dared to defy the system. The battle was as much a test of wills as it was of firepower. The warden's overwhelming physicality seemed unstoppable, but the rebels fought with the wild desperation of the cornered and the righteous, knowing the fate of countless innocents hung in the balance. As the confrontation spiraled into its crucible moment, Alex realized the only way to truly break the warden's grip was to sever the neural link manually, a suicide mission that meant entering the heart of the beast, risking being consumed by the very machine that sought to control them all. With a flash of courage that eclipsed fear, Alex plunged forward, facing the warden in a brutal clash of human spirit against cold, unyielding metal. In the midst of the chaos, Maya's voice crackled through the comms, guiding Eli's final hack that flickered the fortress systems, buying Alex just enough time to sever the neural link, sending a pulse of disruption that shattered the warden's control and sent him crashing to the floor in a storm of sparks and silence. The battlefield quieted in the wake of the storm, but the victory came at a steep price. Wounds both seen and unseen marked every survivor, and the scars of sacrifice etched themselves deep into the fabric of their souls. Jenna's steady hand clasped Alex's shoulder as they all caught their breath amidst the ruins, the children's glowing eyes flickering with a fragile hope as the once unbreakable chains of oppression shattered around them. In the aftermath, the world above seemed altered, as if the city itself exhaled a long-held breath, while beneath the surface, the rebellion sowed the seeds of a new future, one where the lines between human and machine blurred not as chains, but as bridges to something greater. Alex, Maya, and Jenna emerged transformed, their bond forged in the crucible of fire and steel, forever changed by the journey from disbelief to defiance. And though many questions still lingered, the dawn held a promise of freedom and a renewed fight for identity and justice. As they looked out over a city waking to new possibilities, the weight of their victory mingled with the sobering knowledge that their struggle was far from over. Yet in this fragile peace, they found a fierce determination to rebuild, to protect, and to dream. If you've been captivated by this journey beneath the neon-lit streets, don't forget to subscribe for more stories where rebellion meets humanity, and remember, sometimes the greatest battles are the ones we fight within ourselves.